customs meets the community, reaching our customers where they are.
Know your numbers and take control of your life. Don't wait till it's too late. Check your doctor today. Yeah. Get the BMI check, your blood pressure check, your blood sugar and cholesterol check. We're living well when we stay on top of our health. Know your numbers and take control of your life. Don't wait till it's too late. Check your doctor today. Know your numbers and take control of your life.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Bun to me cheese, bun to me cheese. Give me yummy, bun to me cheese, bun to me cheese. Give me yummy. Don't stop at just a one slice, please. No other bun, perfect for me. Yummy. For real Jamaican flavor and quality for sure this Easter. Make yummy the bun to your cheese. Yummy. Give me yummy. Yummy. Give me yummy. For the Easter. Yummy bun zeta. Yummy for me family. Yummy for me, sir. Bun to me cheese, bun to me cheese. Yummy. Bun to me cheese. Bun to me cheese. Best bun. Give me yummy. When someone is on top of things, it shows. On top of the day, on top of the game, on top of the world. And no other card puts you in charge like your new VM Visa credit card. Every click, insert, tap, or swipe solves a problem, sweetens a moment, and unlocks rewards. So what puts you in control of purchases, payments, and a global platform of perks? This card can. Get your VM Visa Gold or Visa Platinum credit card today. For more information, visit myvmgroup.com or call us at 876-754-8627.
Good evening, listeners. It's 7:03 p.m. on this Thursday, March 21, 2024. You're listening to Nationwide at 5 here on Nationwide 90 FM. My name is George Davis.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Well, we just finished hearing the budget presentation of the Prime Minister Andrew Holness in the House of Representatives, wide-ranging in its scope. He started about 225 thereabouts, Siobhan?
Yeah, nearing 230.
Nearing 230. And for a while we thought the opposition would not honor their word to be a part of the proceedings, but they turned up for duty, albeit late, but they were out in their numbers to ensure that there was no sideshow to this afternoon's proceedings.
Correct.
Yeah.
The Prime Minister says under his administration...
Well, we're not there yet. Let's give the introduction. Now you're moving too fast, right? Because the Prime Minister spoke about what he believed were the important national issues, and he took the almost 4 hours, over 4 hours that he did, because he felt he wanted to give due attention to the most critical sectors of the society, the economy, and the country. That being said, there were several things that he mentioned as he went along that he would be skipping. There was the significant part of his presentation on water was not delivered because it was so long. He says where the water bits that he did not present today and other parts that he skipped, that he'll be just making them as statements in the House in subsequent sittings of the House of Representatives.
He also nearly skipped over what I would consider the highlight of his presentation and had to double back to it.
The minimum wage adjustment.
Yes.
There you go. Well, I think it was at the point when he appeared to have completed the presentation. He was being congratulated by MPs. Someone mentioned to him, PM, what happened to the minimum wage? And he said, oh, and then he had to go again. So you're right, Siobhan, he almost finished the presentation without going to that very important bit. All right, we had a presentation prepared for you, but given the passage of time, we're going to make sure that we give you the best bits. If you were listening from the start, there were some important things that the Prime Minister said today that will affect some people in certain groups, and we wanted to ensure that is presented up front in our presentation today, or in our review of what he said in that budget speech, Siobhan.
Yes, and as we said, the highlight of that presentation, the Prime Minister announced a 15% increase to the minimum wage.
Madam Speaker, I'm pleased to announce a further increase to the minimum wage. Effective the 1st of June, the national minimum wage will increase from 13,000 per 40-hour week to 15,000. representing a 15% increase. Madam Speaker, we had also signaled last year that we intended to do away with this business of having different minimum wages for our industrial security guards and everyone else. The minimum wage for the industrial security guard will move from 14 per week to 15,000 per week, and this will take effect from June 1, 2023. Madam Speaker, the increase in the minimum wage represents a 15% adjustment. We thought about it very carefully and thought it was necessary to do to keep the working class and our poorest abreast with inflation. Madam Speaker, we have to look out for the poor and most vulnerable in the society. And you know, Madam Speaker, as we campaigned and we moved around the island, it was clear that many of our working poor were having it really difficult. A young lady during the campaign, she stopped me. We were in Rosetown, and she said, "Prime Minister, you can't increase the minimum wage." And I said to her, "But we just increased the minimum wage by nearly 40%, 50%. And she said to me, "Prime Minister, when I get my pay, it just can't manage." So there is, and we must acknowledge it, certainly at the lower ends of the society, in terms of the working poor, real challenges with making ends meet. So as we present this national budget, we look at how we can support every sector of the society. And I believe, Madam Speaker, that the budget presented has touched almost every sector of the society. We have touched pensioners, we have touched public sector workers, we have touched people who want to own homes, we have touched the poor, we have touched the vulnerable. Madam Speaker, we have done as best as we could without being fiscally reckless. I believe we have presented to the people of Jamaica a good budget.
That's the Prime Minister, Andrew Holness. He also went on to announce what he considers a transformational poverty alleviation strategy in the Jamaica 60 Hope for Children Trust Fund. The fund, which will be seeded by annual government contributions and open to private donations, will be accessible by any child born on or after the 60th anniversary of independence who is on path or award of the state.
Today, I'm pleased to announce that the government will establish the Jamaica 60 Hope for Children Trust Fund. Madam Speaker, the purpose of the fund is to help to close the wealth gap and address the issue of intergenerational poverty by creating a trust account specifically catered to vulnerable children. The Hope for Children Trust Fund will provide each eligible child with a long-term savings account funded through annual contributions from the government. Parents, guardians, and other donors will also be able to make deposits into the account for the future benefit of any specific child. The accumulated funds, including interest, will be accessible on or after the child's 18th birthday for specific purposes such as education, to purchase a home or commercial property, or invest in business. Madam Speaker, any child in Jamaica born on or after the 60th anniversary of our independence, that is August 6, 2022, who is part of the PATH program, meaning that they are born into a PATH household, or they are a ward of the state, will be eligible for this. Madam Speaker, the central idea behind the program is to provide children with a lump sum to start them in life upon attaining adulthood. Our initial target is a lump sum of between $600,000 and $800,000 to be available on the 18th birthday of any eligible child. Madam Speaker, we will also explore alternatives to establish and manage this program. It could be part of the National Insurance Fund, or we may consider having private insurance companies administer the fund. Madam Speaker, this is, I believe, a groundbreaking initiative. To truly, a groundbreaking initiative, to truly grapple with inequality in the society.
Well, the Prime Minister went on to announce details about the Community Action for Rewarding Engagement, or CARE program, which will be implemented through the Heart NSTA Trust. This one, he says, will be a massive game changer as it regards youth who are outside the labor force because they lack the skills to compete in the labor force. He says this will significantly reduce the number of young people who fit under that headline.
It should be noted that 95.8% of the labor force, or 1.32 million persons, are employed. Think about it. 95.8% of everyone who is able, capable, and seeking a job is in a job. If you look at it from that perspective, you begin to understand the problem that the country faces. If the economy grows and job opportunities open up, where are we going to get the people from? So remember now, we have 724,000 persons outside the labor force. We have 4.2% who are unemployed, which represents 57,300 persons unemployed. Now, the member from St. Andrews South said, we must never contemplate importation of labor. Yeah, you said that, and I agree with you. I think we should do everything in our power right now to get all our youngsters, everyone who is available. We must get all of them, every one of them. We must get them into our labor force. We have too many of them. Too many. So, Madam Speaker, in any economy, there is always a base level of unemployment due to structural changes in the economy. Businesses go out of operations, particular skills become obsolete, and workers are out of job while they retool, and new businesses come into operation. But there is also frictional unemployment, where the worker voluntarily changes job, and there is a lag between leaving one job and finding another. In addition to ensuring that labor is trained and constantly upskilled in relevant areas aligned to the market demand, in this era of virtual full employment, because that is where we are now. We don't say it, but technically that's where we are. Full employment. Heart must play the leading role in attracting persons into the workforce. As I travel across Jamaica, I come upon many young persons who should be working, who say they want to work. Some say they have certification. Some say they have skills, but they can't find a job. The youth that is 14 to 24, the youth unemployment rate in October 2023 was 12.6%, or 26,000 persons. So if you think about it strategically, if we're going to find new people to put in the labor force to get into jobs, we already have 26,000 persons that Heart needs to focus on to get them ready, to get them skilled, and to pair them with a job. So strategically, from a policy perspective, what we are going to do, right, is to focus on this area. We must find these young people and not so young people. We must find them where they are, and we must develop programs to increase their employability. So in the short term, yes, we're going to try and really reduce this 26,000, because they are the ones who say they are looking for jobs, but they can't find jobs because they are youthful. Obviously, they may not have skills and they don't have experience, and they may not have a work-ready attitude. And so we're going to target HEART into that area. So this year, the HEART NSTA Trust will introduce the Community Action for Rewarding Engagement initiative called, what does that spell? That's the CARE initiative. To reach every young man and woman who is not working and is not enrolled in a training program. HEART will be proactive in finding you and bringing you to the well of training.
The Prime Minister says each MP, Member of Parliament, will be asked to identify 30 young persons from their constituency for enrollment in the program.
If our economy is to grow, we need every able-bodied man and woman who is able and capable of working to join the labor force. The CARE initiative will be activated in all 63 constituencies. Each Member of Parliament will be asked to identify 30 young persons from their constituency using predetermined selection parameters set by the program. A specialized team in HEART will go to their houses or meet them on the corner if necessary to engage with them and enroll them into the program that will enhance their employability. Madam Speaker, as I travel across Jamaica and I speak to our young people, they tell me that making HEART free of tuition is great, but some of them struggle to find money for transportation and to buy lunch. They say, Prime Minister, I want to come and do the training, but I don't have the bus fare. I want to get a skill, but I won't be able to buy lunch when I go to the training center. This is the dilemma. And this is why we have decided that every student enrolled in HEART under the new CARE initiative will receive a monthly transportation stipend of $15,000 to offset transportation costs to the HEART institutions in which they will be enrolled. The grant will be tied to their attendance, obviously, and we will go even further. All trainees under the CARE program will receive an additional stipend of $13,000 per week for the duration of the training. For some persons who will reach through this program, extensive training may not be required. A lot of them that I have met, they tell me they have certificates. They are a welder, they are this, they are that. But you realize that in speaking to them, what may have been the challenge? Because they tell you, they go to interviews, there might be the challenge of the work ethic, the challenge of the interpersonal skills, the work readiness, and the workplace ethic skills. Those are things that we may have to work on. So the program may not necessarily have to cater to intensive training, but more work readiness skills. And if that is the case, this will also be done quite easily. So this will do job placement, mentorship, and career guidance where necessary. We recognize the urgent nature of the problem of shortage of skilled labor. I would go as far to say that it is now a national emergency. We need to do everything possible, including moral suasion and incentivization, to bring more Jamaicans back into the labor force. In this regard, though HEART must lead the effort, it cannot do it alone. HEART will partner with well-structured and accountable entities on initiatives to attract and train more Jamaicans to the workforce. Heart Trust is currently partnering with Project STAR. Let me repeat that. The Heart Trust is currently partnering with Project STAR, not outsourcing, partnering with Project STAR in 5 communities: Rose Gardens, Parade Gardens in downtown Kingston, Savannah Lamar in Westmoreland, Maypen West in Clarendon, and Salt Spring in St. James, to reach unemployed and unattached youth in these communities. Last year, I announced that Heart will partner with the JDF to add a component to the Jamaica National Service Corps program to leverage the excellent training and character development capabilities of the JDF. This program is still in the planning phase, and we expect to begin rollout later in the coming financial year. The JNSC program continues to provide an avenue for Jamaica's youth to access regimented training, serve their country, and earn. Since the start of the program in June 2017, a total of 6,220 persons have been trained, 5,070 males and 1,150 females. To date, 4,259 candidates have transitioned to become full members of the JDF. Other participants in the program have been certified and prepared for the job market, where they are highly sought after by employees in the security and technical fields.
That's Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Well, we'll take this break, listeners, and we'll come back with more from the Prime Minister's budget debate presentation.
The Ashley Furniture Home Store Orange Sale event is on March 22 to 24. Shop up to 50% off unique and stylish pieces to elevate your space. Plus, enjoy Haviland's bedroom pieces starting at $19,999. 52% off a Robbinsdale 5-piece dining set. 30% off a McCain reclining sofa. Financing available on 6 to 36 months. The Ashley Furniture Home Store Orange Sale event for March 22 to 24 with up to 50% off. Conditions apply.
If you are a parliamentarian or a public official listed in the Jamaica Gazette December 5, 2023 regarding the Integrity Commission Act, or a public official receiving emoluments of $12 million or more during the period January 1, 2023 to December 31, 2023, you must file your statutory declarations as at December 31, 2023 and any outstanding statutory declarations on or before March 31. Download the updated statutory declarations form from the Integrity Commission's website at integrity.gov.jm/statutory declarations. Ask your Human Resource or Administration Division for further information. A message from the Integrity Commission.
Go crazy for this offer from Flow. Get a free Samsung phone and earbuds when you sign up for Flow Yard and Road for the special price of $4,999 plus GCT. Free is all the craze. This crazy offer won't last long. Visit discoverflow.co or your nearest Flow store for more info. Conditions apply.
Residents of Trelawney, the Jamaica Customs Agency is coming your way this Friday, March 22, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. for Customs Meets the Community, Town on Community Tour Edition. Rio Buena, Duncans, and Clarkstown. Look out for us. The final stop is in Falmouth. Get info on contactless clearance or new mobile app and all things customs. Trelawney, Friday, March 22, 2024. Customs Meets the Community, reaching our customers where they are.
Welcome back. We're going through Prime Minister Andrew Holness's very well touched upon budget presentation. He touched on areas such as wages, we had poverty addressed as well, and matters of youth unemployment. But among those issues he also really raised was housing. The Prime Minister announced changes to improve access to loans from the National Housing Trust for young adults. Mr. Holness says the NHT will reserve up to 10% of housing solutions in the current housing plan for those aged 35 years or under.
The Trust's data suggests that this group is underrepresented in a scheme selection, even when factoring for other affordability and accessibility levers such as intergenerational and parent-assisted mortgages, which take into account the points of the older applicants. To address this, the NHT will reserve up to 10% of the housing solutions in the current housing plan for under 35-year-old contributors. 10% of our current housing plans will go to under 35-year-old contributors. Over the next 5 years, this will result in approximately 4,300 housing solutions being available at 100% financing up to $15 million subject to affordability levels.
The Prime Minister also announced an expansion of the 10 Plus Home Improvement Loan. The program, which was originally limited to public sector workers, effective July 1, 2024, will now be open to all contributors, allowing access to home improvement loans of up to $3.5 million after 10 years of contributions. As of July 1, 2024, NHT contributors will also be able to access a smart energy home improvement loan, allowing them to outfit homes with any combination of renewable energy technologies. Contributors may also access up to $1.5 million each with a payback period of up to 10 years. There's also something for public sector pensioners who will also have access in the coming financial year to a solar panel home grant. The NHT will develop one-bedroom apartment complexes.
Not complexes, just apartments.
My apologies, as starter homes. These apartments will be made available to contributors via sales agreements with an optional buyback clause.
The buyback clause will give mortgagors the option to sell the property back to the NHT after a determined time. The trust may repurchase the unit for sale to its contributors. The mortgagors who sell their unit to the NHT under this arrangement will be allowed to access a new benefit from the NHT in full towards the acquisition of a new home.
The Prime Minister also announced plans to be rolled out to help address the shortage of construction workers.
Madam Speaker, one critical sector that has signaled their need for additional labor is construction. We have developed an accelerated apprenticeship program in partnership with some construction firms, which will involve a 3-month pre-apprenticeship period to develop employability skills as well as technical competencies, a 7-month immersive training placement on the construction site for 4 days, and in the Heart Institution for 1 day, an on-the-job mentorship phase, and an assessment and certification following 7 months of on-the-job exposure. This creative approach will make the training in construction more aligned to industry needs, and we will be able to put persons to work in a shorter time frame. Madam Speaker, and this is another partnership that we are pursuing. Madam Speaker, this administration believes in economic independence and self-empowerment. Not every young person will be an employee. We need more self-employed. We need more young entrepreneurs. Having removed tuition fees for all Heart programs up to level 4, this year we're building on that. Starting April 1, 2024, every successful graduate of a level 4 trade program will receive a grant of $50,000 to help them acquire the tools of their trade and to step up to the next stage of their career. For those who are on path or wards of the state, this grant will be increased to $75,000. Additionally, starting next financial year, the Heart NSTA Trust will open a special grant facility of up to $100,000 for Heart certified trainees who have registered a trade or business that has been operating for more than a year. The beneficiaries will also be assisted in refining their business plans, executing marketing activities, further capacity building, and other forms of technical support.
All right, stop here, because we wouldn't be doing our job if we just replayed what the Prime Minister said without making our own comments. Effectively, what has happened? Well, before I even say that, let me say this. The transformation of heart and what it offers and what it positions itself to offer is highly commendable if you look at the transition over time across administrations, but especially so under this administration over the last 8 years, since February 25, 2016, when Holness won his own mandate, and forward to this point in this second consecutive term. When I was back in the day, say for instance in about 1995, I would have been in third form in high school. Heart at that time was the place for failures. If your head couldn't take maths and couldn't take English and couldn't do the principles of accounts and the principles of business and the geography and the history and the English literature and the chemistry and the bio and the physics and all that, your parents would say, boy, you need to go learn a skill at heart. So someone went to heart, someone going to heart would be deemed not as good as everybody else, a failure. It's almost like a failure institution then, but something to give the failure a chance to advance. I'm not saying that's what it was, I'm saying that's what it was seen as. And it didn't do much to change the perception people had that it was somewhere you parked those children who weren't mentally agile. I know many people who went to heart and have done brilliantly. Even in that time, people who went to the heart facility at Garmex and they learned fashion designing, they learned various skills, and who came out of that and owned businesses that were making more money and making more money consistently than people who went and studied it and did the degrees and did the bossy things and the things that we were told to aspire to. Yeah, the people went to heart and came out with skills, auto mechanics and all of that, who did very well for themselves against the perception. But it's been heartening to see the positioning of heart change over time, to say, look, you who are working, and perhaps it is that you feel that you've hit a brick wall in your chosen area, there's something for you at heart to train you up to be able to do something different full-time, do something on the side. Or do you want to learn to be an entrepreneur? There's something for you at heart. Do you want to train some in computer, in the computer area, information technology? There's something for you at heart. Do you have a full-time job but you don't work on Saturday and Sundays? Do you want to do hair? There's something for you at heart. Do you want to do makeup? There's something for you at heart. So heart has transformed and has been enabled by the vision that the administrations have had for heart. And I am now pleased to see where heart is. The perception in the mid-90s and the 80s has been shed significantly. It's now a different heart NSTA trust. And today's announcement by the Prime Minister just takes it further along the path of progress and opportunity for young people and not so young people.
I agree with you, George. The Heart Trust NSTA has been one of the better thought out organizations the country has put in place over the last decade. And when you look at what the Prime Minister has announced, I said to myself, I feel like I was born in the wrong decade. Because if this was announced, say, 10, 20 years ago...
I heard you saying that in the newsroom earlier today, yes.
If this was announced 10, 20 years ago, I would probably have taken a different career path. Imagine being in a situation where not only do you have the ability to go to a training institution, upskill yourself for free.
Yes.
Imagine being paid to do that.
Yes. Excellent point, because there's no excuse. So you say, boy, I start a little thing of heart, but I have no fear of daytime, so I can't go. Or I start a little thing of heart, but, you know, I have the necessary help to see out the program, so I had to abandon the program. And the point you made, is born out of the reality. We had Dr. Tanisha Middleton here some time ago, and she said that in the past, many people started programs at Harvard but didn't finish because of financial challenges.
The existential realities of life.
So this facilitation by the government is to remove the obstacles to the starting and the completion of the programs of study. So it is to help those along the way who see heart as the avenue to help themselves.
Yeah, precisely. I mean, if you mean yourself and the country well and you're without employment or skill, no. You have no excuse left to you.
None whatsoever. None whatsoever. So, you can imagine people saying, so the Prime Minister announced that they'll be giving a $50,000 grant to people to buy tools. 50 grand not enough because tool not cost 50 grand. There'll be people who will find a problem with every solution. And to come from a place where you had to buy the tools for yourself, whatever those tools are, to now getting a $50,000 help up the ladder, I think it is significant, and we should ignore those who will tell you that 50 grand is not enough. It should have been 250 grand. Yeah? Anyway, let's crack on, because the Prime Minister also announced that the Harbourview to Yallah's leg of the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project will be, Southern Coastal Highway will be renamed after Paul Bogle.
At the completion of the works on the stretch of road leading to Morant Bay, I intend to officially name the highway the Right Excellent Paul Bogle Highway in honor of our national hero who gave his life in the struggle against oppression and injustice in Jamaica.
Prime Minister Holness also says his administration will be remembered for contributing more to the parish of St. Thomas than any other in the prior years.
When the chapter of our history is written about St. Thomas, it will show that this administration has done the most for the people of St. Thomas. That we have brought roads, water, jobs, industries, and development to what is now being called the Renaissance Parish. The government is now focused on completing the Yallah's Bridge to Port Antonio and the Morant Bay to Cedar Valley legs of the highway, which will open up the corridor with water, broadband, and sewer lines in some areas.
Yeah. So, a little bit more on the hard thing, because I went to a non-traditional high school, and there were many girls in school who you used to see them with this plastic kit,
almost like a picnic basket.
Yeah, man. So those are the girls who did cosmetology and all of those. And the moment you saw a girl with that, you would say, oh, all right, so she's not bright. So that's why she's doing that. And then those girls would leave high school, and you'd see them months later after graduating, and you say, what are you doing now? And she say, well, yeah, but they're hot. And I think, oh, you continue to fail. Only to see that woman, years later, big business. She have 5 hairdressing shops. She have a shop that sell clothes and all of them things. She employs 30, 40 people, and she's raking in millions of dollars in revenue per year. And you who thought you were the bright one because you did what they told you to do, they said was the preferred path to trod in school. You working in a dead-end job, basically a bossy slave, and the person who you used to turn your nose up at is now making progress. I say that to say that there have always been great opportunities through heart, but the positioning of the agency was always the problem. And there were critical facilitations that were absent. Now, those obstacles in large part have been removed. And so, if you know young people in your community who every day, man are about them on middle, man are drink special every day for lunch, breakfast and dinner, you need to have a word with them. There is something for you at heart, and don't bother say, boy, mommy don't have the money to send me to heart. Mommy doesn't need to have money to send you to heart. You need to have commitment to the process. And based on what was announced today, on top of what already existed at Heart NSTA Trust, you can subscribe to a program that can help you to change your life, if it's even in a small way. And that's a conversation we need to have with people. Don't think that governments exist to put money in your account or in your pocket just like that without you doing nothing. There, a government does best for its people when it creates opportunities for all. For those of us who went the tertiary path, there are universities, as my grandmother said, for stone dog. You have enough universities to facilitate and help those like you. But if you are more inclined to work with your hands to do creative things that the traditional universities do not offer, it is highly likely Heart has something for you, and there are no excuses to not signing up for a program and seeing that program through.
And you know, George, in Japan, there's this term they call NEET. It means not engaged in education, employment, or training. And it's one of the last things you want to have cast on you as a label.
Yes.
And I appreciate what the Prime Minister is doing here. Not only is he saying that we're reaching out to you, he's saying we're going to find you
Yes.
and put you in a program.
Yes. And it's just now for the MPs who will choose those 30 youngsters from their constituency under one part of the program, the CARE initiative, to select judiciously and fairly. 30 is not a lot, but it's a start.
It's a start.
It's a start.
And we can hope it can be expanded further.
Yes, it's a start.
Well, listeners, the Prime Minister also took some time to outline the achievements of his administration and distinguishing it from previous administration. He says under his government, more has been done to balance the lives and the livelihoods of all Jamaicans than any other before. The Prime Minister says the macroeconomic gains made over the past several years have allowed his administration to provide an unmatched sequence of tax relief to the Jamaican people.
We have created a stable and robust macroeconomic environment of fiscal certainty, which supports employment and income generation, capital investment, and increased economic activity. This has allowed my administration, the Andrew Holness-led administration, to present 9 consecutive budgets with no net new taxes. More than that, my administration has actively reduced the tax burden on the people of the country. My administration has actively reduced the tax burden on the people of the country. In the 2016-2017 budget, we announced an increase in the income tax threshold from $592,800 to $1,272,000 effective July 1, 2016, and from $1,272,000 to $1.5 million effective April 1, 2017. We did that. That's the largest ever reduction in the tax burden, right across the board. In the 2019-2020 budget, we increased the turnover threshold required for registration to pay general consumption tax. And we did that. We increased from $3 million to $10 million. Significant relief. We reduced the rate of transfer tax on property from 5% to 2% and replaced the ad valorem stamp duty with a flat rate of $5,000 per document. You think we did done? We increased the minimum estate value on which transfer tax is levied on a deceased person's estate from $100,000 to $10 million. We abolished the asset tax payable by non-financial institutions. We abolished the minimum business tax of $60,000 per annum. In the 2020 to 2021 budget, we reduced GCT from 16.5% to 15%. A massive reduction. Facts. We reduced the rate of asset tax on financial institutions from 0.25% to 0.125%. In 2020-21 to the 2022 budget, we removed the custom administration fee, the CAF, on export declarations with an export value of less than $500. And in this budget, we have again increased the income tax threshold from 1.5 million to 1.7 million and increased the pension relief and age relief from $80,000 each to $250,000. We also increased the de minimis value of imported goods for custom purposes from US $50 to US $100, and the duty-free allowance for inbound passengers from $500 to $1,000 US.
The Prime Minister says thanks to his administration, budget presentations are no longer something to be dreaded.
For a long time, in this country, population approached the budget season with dread and trepidation, wondering what additional taxes the government is going to impose on them. Madam Speaker, we have completely changed that. Now we are approaching a budget. The question is being asked, what goodies the government is going to announce? That is a massive change. There's no fear of the budget. The budget is filled with great expectations. This is a profound change. Workers, families, small businesses, investors can plan their affairs and think long term without worrying that the government will impose some random tax to mash up their plans. Government is no longer a burden on the people of Jamaica. It puzzles. It is a puzzle to the opposition how a government can eliminate some taxes completely, relieve a significant number of persons from paying taxes, reduce the tax rate itself, and still have more tax revenue collected. It's a mystery to them, Madam Speaker, a mystery. They don't understand it.
They don't understand it.
So I understand when they come and say,
they've never done it.
They have now resorted to spreading an outright lie. That the government has increased taxes in order to explain what they don't understand. Or are too ashamed to admit that their government has never been able to do this. They cannot admit that more Jamaicans are employed now than at any other time in the country's history. So more Jamaicans have income and purchasing power. The new hotels that have been built, the new BPOs that have been constructed, the new real estate projects that are being constructed, the new small businesses that have opened up, all have been contributing to the tax revenue. Moreover, wage levels have increased and more persons are seeing the benefit of joining the formal economy by being compliant and contributing to the tax pool. The government, in turn, takes these tax revenues and returns it to the citizens in ways that increase the quality of life.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness, he says the gains made by his government have forced the PNP to make wild, unsustainable promises in a bid to find favor with the Jamaican people.
I can understand why the opposition would continue to lie about taxes. They have never been in the position, quite frankly, they don't know how to get to this position of financing their budget mainly from tax revenues without borrowing or putting on new taxes. They have no clue. And this is why we say that it is always better for the Jamaica Labour Party to manage the economy of the country. The debate has now moved on to how the dividends of good stewardship of the economy should be spent. Yes. That's where the debate is at now. They will never come and tell you how they will earn the revenue. What they will come and tell you is how to spend the revenue. There have been many decades of neglect and disinvestment in our people and our infrastructure, which makes the competition for expenditure, attention, and benefits intense and agitated, especially when it coincides with the political cycle or the election cycle. Everything is a priority now. Yes. In such an environment of expectation and frustration, it is easy for the opposition to make wild promises without considering cost, to want to spend the dividend of skillful stewardship of the economy that they did not create, to play upon the emotions of people and abandon reasonableness and fiscal prudence. That is what they want to do. The pressures to run with it are not limited to opposition parties. Internally, governments face the same pressures. In fact, even more. They face sometimes angry constituents who, at the point of their frustration with bad roads, lack of water, garbage piling up, don't want to hear about maintaining fiscal discipline, reducing debt to GDP, complying with procurement rules, or the improved ratings from Fitch. They put pressure on MPs. No road, no vote. That's the reality. On this side and on that side, we face it. The pressure that existed in 2002 when the then finance minister made his now infamous statement of run with it. Are the same pressures that exist today. Absolutely. In other words, the problems that we face didn't start in 2016. They have always been around. Yes. So the conversation which would want to make it seem as if problems have just started, it is unreasonable, it is unfair, indeed mischievous. And hypocritical. What should be clear to constituents and electors and to politicians is that the fundamental problem of a weak economy and slow government bureaucracy is not solved by running with it.
The Prime Minister, he said that this administration, his administration, knows how to create wealth and then to use that wealth to spend to the benefit of the Jamaican people.
What is different today, Madam Speaker, is that we have a government that will resist the temptation for reckless policy decisions. Madam Speaker, we have a government that creates the cash it uses to care. Today, we have a government that creates the cash it uses to care. Not a government that borrows the cash to care. Not a government that put on new taxes to show the care. No. That is something that the opposition will never be able to do. It's not in their DNA. They cannot do it. This is high science for them. But hear what, Madam Speaker. Hear this one now. We have a government that truly puts people first.
Yep, the Prime Minister there riffing on some now famous statements made by former senior members of government on both sides. The cash to care phrase, of course, made famous by Edward Philip George Siaga, the late former Prime Minister. Run with it, of course, famously said by the former Finance Minister, Dr. Omar Davis. And we put people first, a manly mantra under the PNP. So riffing on the JLP owned slogans and PNP owned slogans to make the point in the presentation. It sets things up nicely, Chevron, for the Prime Minister, the Finance Minister rather, to close the debate next Tuesday.
Yes, and I understand the closing of the debate will address some of the concerns raised by both Mr. Robinson and Mr. Golding.
Yes. All right. Well, listeners, that's all the time we have for you. I want to say thanks to our producer, Dana Davey, who did an awesome job amid in trying circumstances. She had to dump her program. She lost her guests. She had to be mixing and matching and trying to get the best bits of the Prime Minister's presentation for you. And she did that, did her job with aplomb. So thank you, Miss Davey. Thanks to Andrew Anderson, our technical operator. Smooth and cool under pressure all the time. The man is a perfect fit for this role of technical gatekeeper. On behalf of the news and production team, Cara Powell is our news editor, and to all of the soldiers who are inside this nationwide camp churning out news for you, I want to say thank you on their behalf. And yes, folks, there will be some music tomorrow. And
George Davis is back at the helm, thankfully.
Yes. And guess what? I saw my friend Lala Lawrence Reyna in the chat, throwing some words at me. I'm going to play a song for you tomorrow, Lala. Yeah, don't fret. All right, so we'll be here, God's willing, from 5 p.m. tomorrow to do it all over for you. Good evening. My name is George Davis.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
We've been a part of everyday Jamaican life for over 20